Society doesn't collapse all at once. It loosens. Police response times stretch. Hospitals stop taking new patients. Stores close early, then don't reopen. By the time people admit what's happening, the map has already changed. Homes become traps. Open streets become exposure. Anything built for convenience becomes impossible to defend. Survival in collapse isn't about firepower. It's about geometry, angles, access points, lines of sight, choke points. Some places were accidentally designed for this, not as bunkers, not as military sites, but as infrastructure that assumed crowds, danger, or containment. When those places are abandoned, they don't decay into ruins. They harden into fortresses. 1. Water treatment facilities, not the office buildings. Most people think water plant and picture offices. That's not the asset. The asset is below ground. Clarifier basins, filter galleries, valve tunnels, concrete chambers built to hold pressure and contamination.
These facilities were designed to keep things in and outsiders out. They have limited entrances, massive reinforced walls, and internal compartments that can be isolated. Access roads are usually narrow, perimeters are fenced, interior spaces are labyrinthine. In collapse, this creates layered defense without effort. You're not defending a house with windows. You're occupying a structure designed to survive floods, chemical spills, and internal failures. And unlike dams or power plants, water facilities are often ignored once the grid fails. They aren't symbolic. They don't attract crowds. That makes them quiet. Quiet lasts. 2. Rail yards and switching stations. Abandoned rail infrastructure isn't open ground. It's controlled chaos. Raised beds, steel corridors, maintenance tunnels, signal houses built of brick and concrete. Rail yards were designed to channel movement in predictable paths. That's perfect for defense. Trains can only move where tracks exist. Vehicles are restricted by ballast and steel. Foot traffic is forced into narrow corridors between cars, rails, and fencing. Visibility is long range. Cover is abundant. Approach routes are limited. And most importantly, rail yards already assume danger. There are warning systems, elevated platforms, observation points. Once trains stop running, the space doesn't become empty. It becomes structured. Unstructured terrain gets you surrounded. Structured terrain lets you control contact. 3. Abandoned schools, built for containment, not comfort. Modern schools look soft. They aren't. They were designed to contain hundreds of people safely, control movement, and compartmentalize chaos. Thick masonry walls, few ground-level windows, internal courtyards, long hallways that funnel movement. Most have only a handful of exterior doors. Those doors were designed to lock. Stairwalls are narrow. Classrooms become cells. Gyms become centralized mass areas with limited access. People overlook schools because they associate them with normal life. That's a mistake. In collapse, familiarity blinds people. They don't see geometry. A school is a defensive grid with utilities, sanitation infrastructure, and multiple fallback spaces. Once abandoned, it's no longer public. It's positional.
4. Cold storage warehouses. Cold storage facilities were built with one enemy in mind: heat intrusion. That makes them nightmares to breach. These buildings have thick insulated walls, minimal windows, and massive sealed doors designed to stay closed for years. Airflow is controlled. Interior zones are compartmentalized. Floor plans are simple but brutal. Most are concrete boxes wrapped in insulation and steel. Once power fails, they don't suddenly become useless. They become thermally stable. Temperatures change slowly, very slowly. That buys time. The interior layouts are wide, open, and visible. No cluttered hallways, no blind corners. Approach routes are obvious. Defensive positioning is easy. And unlike grocery stores or distribution centers, cold storage warehouses don't attract crowds. No food on display, no cash registers, no emotional pull. They're invisible to desperation. A place people ignore is harder to lose. 5. Stormwater drainage facilities. When people hear drainage, they imagine tunnels. That's a death sentence. But stormwater systems aren't just pipes. They're control points, retention basins, overflow chambers, access vaults built from reinforced concrete. These structures were designed to handle violent water movement and internal pressure without failing. That means thick walls, limited entrances, and heavy access covers. They're usually located off main roads, often fenced, rarely visited. Inside, you get vertical separation, hard surfaces, and predictable movement paths. Noise carries, footsteps echo. You hear intruders before you see them. This isn't about hiding underground. It's about using infrastructure that already assumes force. Why these places work when everything else fails. Notice the pattern. None of these locations were designed for comfort. They were designed for control, movement control, access control, environmental control. Homes are meant to be lived in. Stores are meant to invite people inside. Apartments assume order. Collapse punishes that. Fortresses don't need to look intimidating. They need to reduce variables. Limited entrances, hard materials, predictable geometry. These places give you that without construction, without fortifying, without advertising your presence. They already exist. That's why they're dangerous, not to you, but to the idea that survival requires special gear or heroic defense. It doesn't. It requires choosing terrain that does the work for you. The people who survive collapse aren't the loudest. They're the ones who understand space. They don't defend everywhere. They defend one place extremely well. And the best places were already built, then abandoned by a system that assumed it would never fail.